Barahubaho, greetings family. We are going to talk about how to meditate, the proper way to meditate. And we need to start off by just addressing the incorrect way, the way that people will see on media a lot. And we'll start with the first, like the main few ones is one, meditations to to obtain a desire. Those meditations are going to set you off immediately for failure. And people would like to say, oh, you can't have a failed meditation experience. You can, but you also can't, because in meditation you're not supposed to try and go out for anything. You're not doing meditation for a desire. You're doing it to obtain. You're doing it to receive something, right? What you're receiving isn't really necessarily determined on you. It's determined on your state of being and what you're able to receive in that time. So when we're talking about failed meditations, it's like meditation to remove negative energy or pessimism, which is what people really should be calling it, because that's what it is. They're trying to remove that pessimism, that disagreeable nature, that amber light, that red light away from you. And when people are doing those meditations, we're like, meditation for money, meditation for this, meditation for that. If you're not already in a state of body to receive those things, it's going to be a failure. You're not going to receive those things. That's why meditation is always best. If going to a goal to be guided, not just to be some frequency that they claim is one thing, but is probably just downloaded royalty-free music online that you're just listening to and trying to convince yourself that it's one thing when it's not, and then allowing parallels to connect, you know what I mean? Or allowing comments underneath stuff that have people lying, or people buying other people to, paying other people to comment. Buying comments, really. Just saying, oh, it works this way, it works that way. You know what I mean? We live on the internet. We don't live on the internet. Jesus Christ, I hope not. No, but we are on the internet, unfortunately. And people don't tell the truth all the time. So when it comes down to meditations, when it's coming down to that, when it's come down to meditation frequencies, like this frequency is used for this and that and the other, but you don't really hear a frequency. You just hear like an angelic choir, this same 4-chord progression, really basic stuff, just really relaxing music. Yeah, that's royalty free. You can find that stuff online, and most tutorials that people follow on YouTube, you can look up meditation music tutorial, isn't of people actually making that music. It's of them leading you to a site saying, oh, you just download it from here. Why aren't you making the meditation music? If you knew your frequencies, if you knew what you were doing, you could. I do. It's pretty easy once you know what you're doing. But you have to know what you're doing. People just, want to take it the easy way out. So we're going to have to mention those dogma things, those fake reasons first, because that's what the majority of people are doing and using. And that's not... Okay, well, cool. Sorry about that. But that's not like what needs to happen. That's not the proper way of how things are supposed to be done with the meditation. So first off, there is a way of getting into that state. There is a way to know if you are in that state and are ready to meditate. And the first, big obvious hello is if you want to meditate. Are you meditating because you feel demanded to? If so, you're not meditating in the right manner. Are you meditating because you are in a state of lack and you are trying to achieve or receive or retrieve? No, because again, you're in that state of lack. In that meditation, you'll only be focusing on that lack. You won't be gaining anything unless it's an answer to how to fix the lack, which would just be received from basic meditation, coming from a head and heart connection, or a white light and green light connection. But when we are in that state of meditation, when we're trying to get into meditation, making sure that you are in a state of peace, making sure you're in a state that you would desire to be in while in that meditative state, as well as, pushing away your day-to-day worries, any sort of menial issue, like, oh, I have to do this tomorrow, or this is here, or like, I don't have time to meditate, or all these like excuses that the brain wants to come up based off of the external reality that you're faced with. It's time to put those on away. This is a sacred time, a secret time, a time for secrets or sacreds to be given to you from within, from the divine, from the points that are beyond our comprehension. Well, some people's comprehension, depending on who you are and what you're doing. You know things, you don't know things. Another thing to talk about when it comes down to meditation is comfortability. Some people can't sit straight up, for countless hours. Some people prefer to lay down. Some people prefer to be outside. Some people prefer to be inside. Some people prefer to have certain senses and things going on. That's perfect. Do what makes you comfortable. If you're gonna lay down and meditate, but you're not sure of how to stay awake, don't close your eyes all the way so that your eyes aren't fully shut. You don't have that worry of falling asleep, and you'll be able to have some form of light or reception in that sort of form. If you're outside, have a blanket or mat, obviously, if you want to. It is, it's not necessary, but it is for comfortability, especially if you're going to be outside for a while and you're not on the most comfortable of land. Having, a shrine with your creator, your ancestors, whoever you give your thanks to, if you have one, having one of those would also help you, especially if you're wanting to kind of do, especially if you're wanting to do a meditation. Sorry for it cutting in there like that. My phone keeps getting random notifications for no reason. It shuts it off. But it doesn't have to be for like a specific reason. You can just do like, oh, I want to do a meditation with my ancestors. I want to do this, inviting those energies to come in to help you and to guide you and assist you during meditations. Incense, aromatherapies, whatever scents are going to make you feel good, whatever you're desiring to experience during the meditation, that's where most of your control is going to come from. Once you've already established like that peaceful state of mind, then you can go forth and be in more of a directive of saying, hey, I want to do this and that. Because let's say you're in a chaotic state of mind where things are kind of bizarre and you're wanting to meditate, but you don't really have a grounded sense. Oh, I don't know what I want. Do I want this or that? Now you're spending all your time focusing your energy on what you're wanting to do, setting things up, rather than taking that energy and getting yourself prepared for meditation. Now you've set yourself back. Some people would like to say that getting into meditation doesn't require energy or doesn't take up energy. It does, actually. You need to make sure that you are in a state of being completely being energetically aligned, saying it that way, for certain terms. Some people will understand it better that way, for meditation to occur properly. So that does require energy. That's why you have to, keep your mind straight, because that's using up energy. Your brain's moving constantly, and when it's going sporadic like that, you're spending energy. That's why you feel ramped up. Now you're consuming double energy. You know what I mean? Now you're using it more and more of all this energy, and it's, it creates, all sorts of disaster. It creates a lack of desire wanting to do meditation. Then it, now you start associating meditation with the panic episode that you had. All these things. But once you've established an area and you're good and you're comfortable and you're relaxed, it then enters you more into a state. You then want to enter more of a state of allowing yourself to receive. You're opening up spiritual doors at this point, at this state, when you are meditating. That's the whole point, is you're opening up the spiritual doors to life so you can, receive answers. It's knocking at the door and then receiving your answer, asking to receive. And these spiritual doors are internal, obviously. They're leading you through different pathways of yourself that you need for that specific time. Going back to like getting specific meditations, maybe you are running low on finances, right? But you're like, oh, I want to do meditations to open up my doors so I can like receive money. Well, maybe it's not the fact that you're receiving money, maybe that's not the issue. It's something else that's buried underneath. Well, that's why you would do just a meditation in general, getting yourself in that state so you can see, is this something where like it's a financial block, or is this something where I'm not trusting myself with moving forward? Is it like an innate fear? Is it a cycle that I need to break through? Is it something that my ancestors are doing? Is it something that I'm not able to achieve yet due to certain responsibilities or certain time frames? However, within this, once you're in that state of meditation, if you are gonna sit with a straight erect spine, if you mudras however you want. I usually just keep my hands as this in this mudra, and I'll just breathe. At this point, some people do it in different ways. I'll usually for a few minutes just breathe in, imagine the air around me going into the lungs, going through the first film, the second film, and then actually into like the little pockets that the air goes into, going through the blood system, and then exhaling it, leaving the blood system, leaving those through the lungs and out the mouth. Depending on depending on who you are and how you want to do things, that's up to you. If you want to breathe in light and breathe out we'll breathe in cleansing and then breathe out the uncleansed, you can do that, however you need to do. Just make sure you're breathing in life, and then relaxing on the exhale, however it is, so that you're getting a circulation of new, so you're already in that energy of receiving, and it's not receiving anything that is a desire, but it's receiving things that you already are. It's taking more of a conscious awareness of what you're doing. I'm breathing, I'm receiving that air. So I'm in that reception energy already, no matter if you're masking it as light. However, your body is now more attuned to that spiritual sense of being like, okay, so now we're looking at the beyond. Now we're seeing how we're consuming. Now we're seeing how we're giving back. Now we're completely in this cycle, consciously, subconsciously, putting yourself within the one in the grand scheme so that you can move forward within these meditations. When you do have a meditation journal, and when you get into a flow of meditation, you can start kind of prepping sort of certain questions, like, what is divine love? What does divine love mean to me? What is the nature of self? What is who am I? What can I discover myself? How am I feeling today? All these things, you can start writing them out, and getting together your meditation journal, doing candle gazings, doing these same techniques but with candle gazings, letting the fire explain images to you. You can do the same with sun gazing, star gazing, all these things. This meditation is just in that state of receiving. You can meditate however, but when you do meditate in a sense of wanting to meditate and having not only the idea but the motivation and the fuel to meditate, it's important that you do set up this area so that you're not just all over the place, so that you aren't running this way, that way. You have that concrete plan. But yeah, I just want to go over meditation for a minute to break down some of those old dogmas and to set the actual meaning, the actual reason of why you need to meditate, not the westernized reason, but the more true, the whole reason for why we would meditate. And it is to open up those spiritual doors of life to obtain whatever you're looking for. And what you're looking for isn't based off of the mind or the egoic desires. It's based off of that heart connection, which is why you need the mind and the heart, the white light and the green light connected, as that source entangled. So you actually getting what you need from the heart space, not from the ego. not from, oh, I want this because I'm lacking it. You're desiring to draw it up because it's what's important to your evolution. It's important to you and your steps moving higher. But it was truly wonderful being here. Peace to all of you, and I love you all so much.